The alien's arrival and a courageous act. The strange alien beast lay bleeding on the polished metal floor of the busy New York spaceport terminal, surrounded by a mob of shocked but unhelpful onlookers. Jeers and debris rained down upon the helpless creature as it groaned in pain, its mottled flesh and strange appendages sprawled in a pool of purple ichor. One of the alien's bulbous golden eyes flickered open, darting about in desperation, seeking any glimmer of aid or compassion amidst the hostile crowd. The onlookers recoiled in revulsion and fear, their faces twisted with disgust. NYPD officer Jason Phillips shouldered his way through the mob, his jaw set in grim determination. Calls for medical backup had gone unanswered, and his fellow security personnel hung back, their hands twitching near their weapons. Their inaction sickened him. As Jason reached the creature's side, it lifted its massive, horned head and locked its gaze with his. In that moment, Jason saw a spark of intelligence in those strange eyes, along with an overwhelming plea for help. He knew he had to act, to show the watching crowd that humanity was better than this, that compassion knew no species, and that even if it cost him everything, he would not let this alien visitor perish, cold and alone, on the uncaring floor of a human spaceport. "Hold it right there, Phillips," Officer Martinez shouted, his voice cracking with fear. "Put that thing down before it infects you with some kind of space plague." Jason ignored the protests and slid his arms beneath the injured creature, bracing himself for a heavy load. To his surprise, the alien felt surprisingly lightweight, its bulky exoskeleton concealing a slender frame. Hoisting the limp body into his arms, Jason turned and pushed through the crowd of onlookers, carrying the alien through the terminal. A strange device on the creature's wrist caught Jason's eye, the small gadget pulsing with an otherworldly blue light. Suddenly, it crackled to life, projecting a shimmering hologram into the air. The image resolved into another alien, its features similar to the injured one in Jason's arms. It spoke in a rapid series of clicks and chirps, the sounds unintelligible to human ears. The hologram flickered and wavered, distorting the alien's image for a brief moment. The projection then changed, displaying what looked like a star chart with unknown constellations and a line tracing a path between them. Before Jason could study it further, the transmission cut out abruptly. Intrigued by the cryptic message, Jason quickened his pace. The mystery would have to wait. First, he needed to get this alien medical attention. He entered the spaceport's clinic, the automatic doors whirring open. The staff inside turned to stare at him, their expressions morphing from surprise to disgust. "Get that thing out of here," a doctor said, backing away. "It needs help," Jason said, his voice firm. "I'm not leaving until it gets treatment." Jason shouldered past the sputtering medics and found an empty exam room. Gently, he laid the alien on the table, mindful of its injuries. Purple blood smeared the white sheets as Jason looked over the creature, assessing the severity of its wounds. Deep gashes crisscrossed its hide, oozing that strange ichor, and one of its limbs hung at an unnatural angle, clearly fractured. Jason had basic first aid training, but this was so far beyond his experience that he didn't know where to begin. The alien's biology was a complete mystery, and even if he could figure out how to help, what if he accidentally made things worse? Still, he had to try. Jason took a deep breath and selected an antiseptic pad from a nearby medical cart. As carefully as he could, he began to clean the wounds, hoping the creature's immune system was similar enough for human medicine to help. The alien twitched and let out a low keen. "Easy there, big fella," Jason murmured, his brow furrowed in concentration. "I've got you." As Jason focused on cleaning the alien's wounds, he noticed strange markings etched into the creature's exoskeleton. They were not random patterns or natural textures, but deliberate symbols arranged in intricate sequences. Jason pulled out his phone and snapped photos of the symbols from various angles, the camera flash reflecting off the alien's iridescent hide. He knew he was no linguist or cryptographer, but perhaps he could find someone who could translate this alien script. If he could establish communication with the creature, maybe he could understand why it came to Earth and how to help it. The alien twitched, a low growl rumbling in its throat. Jason tensed, expecting it to lash out in pain or fear, but as its eyes fluttered open, the creature seemed more disoriented than aggressive. It shifted on the exam table, its movements sluggish and uncoordinated. Slowly, tentatively, the alien lifted a clawed appendage towards Jason. He braced himself, ready to leap back if it attacked. Instead, the creature grasped his forearm, its grip weak but deliberate. As Jason met the alien's gaze, he saw a glimmer of intelligence and what looked like gratitude in those strange golden eyes. Suddenly, the exam room door burst open, and the sound of booted feet filled the space. 5 soldiers in black tactical gear poured in, their rifles at the ready. They fanned out, surrounding the table and training their weapons on the injured alien. "Step away from the creature," the lead soldier barked, his voice distorted by his helmet's respirator. "This is now a military operation under the jurisdiction of the United Nations Space Command." Jason hesitated, torn between complying and shielding his alien patient. He had seen too many movies where the government dissected first and asked questions never, and something told him this creature was no threat to humanity. It needed help, not imprisonment or experimentation. "I'm not going anywhere," Jason said, keeping his tone level and calm as he moved to put himself between the alien and the soldiers' guns. "This alien is my responsibility. I'm not letting you take it until I can guarantee its safety and well-being." The soldier jabbed a gloved finger at Jason. "You don't have the authority to interfere with this alien. This is a matter of national security." The alien made a sound somewhere between a hiss and a screech, more of its blood splattering on the floor as it tried to rise. Jason reached out to steady it, ignoring the soldier's warnings. He had to defuse this standoff before the creature ended up dead or, worse, captured and subjected to experimentation. But how could he make the UNC see this alien as a sentient being in need of aid, not a resource to be exploited? He had to find a way to communicate with it and unravel the purpose of its mission. Only then could he convince the military to treat it with the dignity it deserved. Until then, Jason would not abandon his patient, even if he had to fight his own species to protect it. He squared his shoulders and spread his arms, shielding the injured alien from the encroaching soldiers. "I can't let you take it. This creature needs medical attention, not a prison cell." The commanding officer narrowed his eyes, his hand dropping to the pistol holstered at his hip. "This is your last warning, Officer Phillips. Step aside, or you will be detained for obstruction of justice." "Obstruction of what justice?" Jason shot back. "Since when does the UNC operate on American soil without notifying local authorities?" He studied the soldiers, taking in their unmarked black armor and lack of official insignia. "You're not UNC at all, are you? This is some kind of black ops unit." The commander's lips curled into a sneer. "You don't know what you're dealing with. That thing is a threat to national security. Surrender it now or face the consequences." Jason shook his head. "I'm not handing over an injured, defenseless being to a trigger-happy goon squad. If you want it, you'll have to go through me." The soldiers raised their rifles, the barrels aimed squarely at Jason's chest. The commander drew his pistol with deliberate slowness. "Have it your way, then." Behind Jason, the exam table creaked. The alien rose to its feet, its purple blood still dripping from its many wounds. Its golden eyes flared with sudden searing light, and a deafening roar shook the room. The soldiers staggered back, their weapons falling from nerveless fingers to clatter on the tile floor. Jason clutched at a counter to keep from being knocked over by the sheer force of the alien's cry. As he watched in stunned disbelief, the creature's exoskeleton rippled and changed. Armored plates receded, replaced by smooth metallic skin that gleamed like polished silver. The alien's form seemed to collapse inward, its bulk melting away until a humanoid figure stood in its place. The being was tall and lean, with elegant curves and sleek lines that spoke of inhuman grace and power. Its eyes burned like molten gold in a face that was at once beautiful and terrifying. When it spoke, its voice resonated through Jason's bones. "I am Nan, emissary of the Alani. I come in peace, seeking the help of humanity." The soldiers gaped at the transformed alien, their bravado evaporating in the face of this inexplicable new development. The commander's hand shook as he tried to keep his pistol trained on Nan. Jason stepped forward, his heart pounding against his ribs. He had no idea what was happening, but he knew he had to keep the situation from escalating further. "Nan, I'm Officer Jason Phillips of the NYP," he said, his voice steady. "I apologize for the rude welcome to our planet. Are you able to tell us why you've come to Earth?" The alien's transformation and a plea for help. Jason stood in stunned silence, his mind reeling from Nan's sudden transformation and the weight of his words. The alien's metallic skin gleamed under the harsh fluorescent lights of the examination room, and his golden eyes fixed on the NYPD officer with an intensity that sent shivers down Jason's spine. The soldiers, momentarily caught off guard by the alien's metamorphosis, quickly regained their composure. They raised their weapons once more, the barrels trained on Nan's chest. The commanding officer's finger hovered over the trigger, his face a mask of suspicion and hostility. Nan, seemingly unperturbed by the show of aggression, raised his hand in a placating gesture. His voice was calm and measured as he addressed the soldiers directly. "I apologize for my alarming appearance earlier. It was a necessary disguise to protect myself from those who would seek to exploit my technology and knowledge. I assure you, I mean no harm to humanity." The commanding officer narrowed his eyes, his grip tightening on his pistol. "You expect us to believe that? You're an unknown entity, a potential threat to national security. We have no reason to trust you." Nan inclined his head, acknowledging the soldier's concerns. "I understand your skepticism. Allow me to provide proof of my peaceful intent." He reached for the device on his wrist, his long, slender fingers dancing across the surface. A series of symbols flashed across the screen, too quick for Jason to decipher. Suddenly, the room was filled with a dazzling holographic projection. Images of towering spires, gleaming cities, and advanced technology, unlike anything Jason had ever seen, swirled around them. Sleek spacecraft soared through star-studded skies, while alien beings of various shapes and sizes walked along pristine streets. "This is the world of the Alani," Nan explained, his voice filled with pride. "We are an ancient race, far older and more technologically advanced than humanity. For centuries, we have observed your planet, watching as you have struggled to find your place in the galaxy." Jason felt a sense of awe and insignificance wash over him as he took in the breathtaking scenes of the Alani civilization. Compared to their achievements, humanity's accomplishments seemed small and primitive. Nan turned his gaze to Jason, his golden eyes softening. "We have seen your potential, your resilience, and your capacity for compassion despite the challenges you have faced. You continue to strive for a better future, and now we need your help." The commanding officer scoffed, his skepticism still evident. "Help with what exactly? What could a supposedly advanced race like yours possibly need from us?" Nan's expression grew somber. "Our civilization faces a grave threat, one that could lead to our extinction. We have exhausted all other options, and now we turn to humanity as our last hope." He addressed Jason directly. "Officer Phillips, you have shown great courage and compassion in aiding me. I believe you are the key to forging an alliance between our peoples." Jason's heart raced as the weight of Nan's words sank in. He glanced at the soldiers still poised to shoot, and then back at the alien emissary. He knew he was standing on the precipice of a momentous decision, one that could change the course of human history. Taking a deep breath, Jason stepped forward, placing himself between Nan and the soldiers once more. "I believe him," he said, his voice steady and resolute. "I've seen the fear and prejudice that can blind us to the truth, But I also seen the incredible things we can achieve when we open our hearts and minds to new possibilities. If Nan and the Alani need our help, we owe it to them, and to ourselves to listen." The commanding officer hesitated, his finger still hovering over the trigger. For a moment, Jason feared that the soldier would ignore his plea and open fire. But then, slowly, the officer lowered his weapon, signaling for his men to do the same. "Fine," he growled, his tone laced with reluctance. "But if this is some kind of trick, if you're plotting against humanity, there will be hell to pay." Nan bowed his head in acknowledgement. "I give you my word on behalf of the Alani that our intentions are pure. We seek only cooperation and mutual understanding." Jason released a breath he hadn't realized he'd been holding. He turned to Nan, a million questions burning in his mind. "What do you need us to do?" The alien emissary's eyes gleamed with a mixture of hope and determination. "We must convene with your leaders, your greatest minds, and your bravest warriors. Together, we will face the challenges that lie ahead and forge a new future for both our peoples. The path will not be easy, but I believe that with the strength of our alliance, there is nothing we cannot overcome." Jason nodded, his resolve hardening. He knew that the road ahead would be fraught with danger and uncertainty, but he also knew that he could not turn his back on this chance to make a difference, to be a part of something greater than himself. As he looked around the room at the soldiers lowering their weapons and the holographic images of the Alani civilization still shimmering in the air, Jason felt a sense of purpose settle over him. This was his moment, his chance to shape the destiny of two worlds, and he would not let it slip through his fingers. Nan's golden eyes flashed as he projected a star map into the air. Red dots peppered the display, each one marking a fallen Alani colony. "For decades, the Zorgan have waged a campaign of destruction against my people. World by world, they have slaughtered our citizens and stripped our planets of resources. Now, only a handful of Alani worlds remain." Jason studied the map, a sense of dread growing in his chest. The Zorgan had already conquered a vast swath of the galaxy. How could the Alani hope to stop them? Nan continued, "The Zorgan are a cruel, warlike race. They possess advanced weapons capable of shattering moons and igniting the atmospheres of planets. Billions have perished under their onslaught, civilizations erased from existence." The soldiers exchanged uneasy glances, the commanding officer's bravado gone. "If the Zorgan could defeat a species as advanced as yours, what hope do we have?" "The Zorgan have turned their attention to Earth," Nan said, his voice grave. "They see humanity as a potential threat, a rising power that could one day challenge their dominion over the stars. Even now, their battle fleet masses at the edge of your solar system, preparing for invasion." Jason's blood ran cold. The thought of those monstrous aliens descending upon his world, slaughtering his people, filled him with a terror he had never known. Nan placed a hand on Jason's shoulder. "But there is hope. I was sent to Earth to forge an alliance between our peoples. Together, we can stand against the Zorgan menace." The commanding officer shook his head. "We are hopelessly outmatched. Our weapons would be useless against the kind of power you're describing." "Alone, yes," Nan acknowledged. "But with Alani technology and human courage, we may have a chance. I propose a joint operation, a preemptive strike against the Zorgan fleet. If we can catch them off guard, we can buy Earth precious time to prepare its defenses." Jason's mind reeled. He was just a cop from New York, not some space marine. How could he possibly make a difference against an alien armada? But as he looked around the room at the frightened faces of the soldiers and the determined gaze of Nan, Jason knew he had to try. This was bigger than him, bigger than any one person. The fate of the entire world hung, preparing for the Zorgan invasion. In the days that followed, Jason spent every waking moment working alongside Nan and the Alani team. The alien engineers and scientists had set up a secret base in an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of the city, and as Jason stepped inside, his eyes widened at the sight of the advanced technology scattered throughout the space. Sleek silver spacecraft with elegant curves and glowing blue accents stood in neat rows, their hulls gleaming under the bright lights. Workbenches overflowed with strange gadgets and weapons, their designs unlike anything Jason had ever seen. Nan led Jason to one of the ships, a compact fighter craft built for speed and agility. "This is the Falcon-class interceptor," he explained, running his hand along the smooth surface of the wing. "It's designed specifically for human pilots, with intuitive controls and a neural interface that allows the ship to respond to your thoughts." Jason climbed into the cockpit, marveling at the array of holographic displays and the form-fitting seat that seemed to mold itself to his body. As he gripped the control yoke, he felt a strange tingling sensation in his mind, as if the ship was connecting directly to his brain. Over the next few days, Jason spent every waking moment training with the Alani technology. He learned how to fly the Falcon Interceptor, how to fire its plasma cannons and missiles, and how to evade enemy fire with lightning-fast reflexes. The neural interface took some getting used to, but soon Jason found himself thinking commands to the ship as naturally as if he were moving his own limbs. As they worked together, Jason and Nan began to form a deep bond. During breaks in their training, they would sit and talk, sharing stories of their respective worlds. Nan spoke of his home world, Elia Prime, with its vast oceans and towering crystal cities that glittered in the sun. He described the peaceful, enlightened society of the Alani, how they had devoted themselves to the pursuit of knowledge and the betterment of all life in the galaxy. But Nan's voice grew somber as he recounted the war against the Zorgan. "For decades, we have watched in horror as they have destroyed world after world, slaughtering our people and stripping our planets of resources. We have exhausted every diplomatic option, every attempt at negotiation, but the Zorgan show no mercy. They are intent on our annihilation." Jason listened, his heart heavy with the weight of Nan's words. He knew that the fate of the Alani now rested on the shoulders of the Human-Alani Alliance, and the responsibility weighed heavily upon him. "How can we possibly hope to defeat an enemy like the Zorgan?" he asked, his voice tinged with uncertainty. "Their technology and firepower seem so vastly superior to our own." Nan's golden eyes met Jason's, and the human officer saw a spark of determination there. "That is where the strength of our alliance comes into play. Humanity may lack the advanced technology of the Alani, but you possess something far more valuable: ingenuity, resilience, and the ability to think outside the confines of convention." He placed a hand on Jason's shoulder, his grip firm and reassuring. "Together, we can overcome the Zorgan's military might. Your courage and creativity, combined with our knowledge and resources, will forge a path to victory. This is not a battle we can afford to lose, Officer Phillips. The fate of our worlds hangs in the balance." Jason nodded, his resolve hardening. He knew that the road ahead would be fraught with danger and uncertainty, but he also knew that he could not turn his back on this chance to make a difference, to be a part of something greater than himself. As he continued his training, Jason's skills with the Falcon Interceptor grew ever sharper. He pushed himself to the limit, driven by the knowledge that the fate of two civilizations rested upon his shoulders. The neural interface became a seamless extension of his own mind, and he found himself anticipating the ship's movements before he even issued the commands. Meanwhile, Nan and the Alani team worked tirelessly, sharing their advanced technology and knowledge with the human military leaders and scientists. Together, they devised a plan for a daring preemptive strike against the Zorgan fleet, gathering at the edge of the solar system. The success of this mission would be crucial, not only for the survival of the Alani, but also for the defense of Earth. If they could catch the Zorgan off guard and cripple their forces, it would buy precious time for humanity to prepare its defenses and forge a stronger alliance with the Alani. As the day of the mission drew near, Jason felt a sense of both trepidation and determination. He knew that the stakes could not be higher, but he also knew that he had to succeed. Failure was not an option for the sake of both his own world and the Alani's. He sought out Nan, his mind brimming with questions and doubts. "What if we can't do this? What if we're not strong enough to stand against the Zorgon? Nan met his gaze, his expression calm and reassuring. You have already shown tremendous courage and compassion, Officer Phillips. The fact that you are willing to risk everything to aid my people is a testament to the strength of the human spirit. Together, we will find a way to prevail. He reached out and clasped Jason's hand, his grip firm and resolute. This is our moment, our chance to shape the destiny of two worlds. I know it is a heavy burden to bear, but I believe in you, and in the power of our alliance. Whatever challenges lie ahead, we will face them side by side. Jason felt a surge of determination coursing through him. Nan's unwavering faith in him and in humanity's potential gave him the courage he needed to face the uncertain future. As the human and Alani forces prepared for the battle to come, Jason knew that the fate of two civilizations rested on their shoulders. But with Nan at his side and the unwavering resolve of his fellow pilots, he was ready to take on the Zorgon threat, no matter the cost. The attack on the Zorgon fleet. The day of the mission dawned, and Jason found himself standing beside Nan in the control room of the Alani base, looking out at the gleaming fleet of Falcon interceptors and Alani warships arrayed before them. The tension in the air was palpable as the human and Alani forces readied themselves for the daring strike against the Zorgon fleet. Jason took a deep breath, his heart pounding with a mixture of fear and determination. He knew that the success of this mission would not only determine the fate of the Alani, but also the future of his own world, Earth. The thought of the Zorgon descending upon his home, unleashing their devastating firepower, filled him with a sense of dread. But as he met Nan's unwavering gaze, Jason felt his resolve harden. The Alani emissary had trusted him, had entrusted him with the responsibility of leading the human contingent of this operation. He could not, would not, let Nan and the Alani down. Are the pilots ready? Nan asked, his voice calm and assured. They are, Jason replied, his own voice steadier than he had expected. We've spent countless hours training with the Falcon interceptors, and the neural interface has become second nature to them. They're as ready as they'll ever be. Nan nodded, his expression serious. Then it is time. The Zorgon fleet looms at the edge of your solar system, poised to strike. We must act now before they can encroach any further. He turned to face Jason, placing a hand on the human's shoulder. Remember, Officer Phillips, you are not alone in this fight. The Alani stand with you, and together we will face this threat head-on. Humanity's courage and ingenuity, combined with our advanced technology, will be the key to our victory. Jason felt a surge of gratitude and respect for the alien emissary. Nan's unwavering belief in humanity's potential had been a constant source of strength and inspiration throughout their preparation for this mission. We won't let you down, Nan, Jason said, his voice firm and resolute. The Zorgon will never know what hit them. With that, Jason turned and made his way to the Falcon interceptor he had become so intimately familiar with during his training. As he settled into the cockpit, he felt the familiar tingling sensation of the neural interface activating, seamlessly connecting his mind to the ship's systems. Around him, the human pilots climbed into their own fighters, their faces set with determination. Jason could see the fear in their eyes, the weight of the responsibility they carried, but there was also a steely resolve that he knew would serve them well in the battle to come. As the launch sequence began, Jason gripped the control yoke, his muscles tensing in anticipation. He could feel the power thrumming beneath him, the Falcon interceptor ready to burst into the void of space at a moment's notice. All wings, report in, he said, his voice steady and commanding. One by one, the pilots responded, confirming their readiness. Jason took a deep breath, his gaze fixed on the horizon, where the Zorgon fleet awaited. This is it, people, he said, his words carrying a weight that belied his young age and relative inexperience. Remember your training. Trust your instincts, and most of all, watch each other's backs. We're all in this together. With a deafening roar, The Falcon interceptors and Alani warships launched, streaking through the atmosphere and into the inky blackness of space. Jason felt a surge of adrenaline as the stars blurred around him, the neural interface allowing him to guide the ship with almost effortless precision. As they approached the Zorgan fleet, Jason's eyes widened at the sheer scale of the enemy's forces. Massive, angular vessels bristling with weapons dominated the void, their imposing silhouettes a stark contrast to the sleek elegance of the Alani ships. "All units, engage the enemy," Jason commanded, his voice tinged with a mixture of fear and determination. "Focus fire on the larger capital ships. We need to cripple their command and control capabilities if we're going to have any chance of breaking through their defenses." The human pilots and Alani warriors responded with a barrage of plasma fire, their coordinated strikes carving deep gashes into the Zorgan vessels. But the enemy was relentless, returning fire with devastating force, their weapons ripping through the Alani's defenses. Jason gritted his teeth, his fingers dancing across the Falcon interceptor's controls as he weaved and dodged the incoming fire. He could see his fellow pilots struggling to maintain cohesion in the face of the Zorgan onslaught, their ships taking heavy damage. "Keep it together, people," he shouted into the comm, his voice laced with urgency. "We need to hold the line, no matter what." Nan's voice suddenly crackled over the channel, his tone filled with a sense of urgency. "Officer Phillips, the Zorgan have targeted Earth's defenses. We must divert a portion of our forces to protect your homeworld, or all will be lost." Jason's heart sank as he realized the full scope of the Zorgan's assault. They were not just attacking the Alani, they were also poised to strike at the heart of humanity, to crush Earth's defenses and subjugate the planet. "Copy that, Nan," he replied, his mind racing. "I'll lead a squadron to intercept the Zorgan forces heading towards Earth. The rest of you, keep hammering away at their capital ships. We need to buy as much time as possible." Without hesitation, Jason peeled off, his Falcon interceptor rocketing towards the Zorgan vessels that had broken away from the main fleet. Around him, a small group of human pilots followed, their ships weaving through the barrage of enemy fire. As they closed in on the Zorgan forces, Jason felt a sense of purpose and determination that he had never experienced before. This was more than just a battle. It was a fight for the survival of two civilizations, a chance to prove that humanity's courage and ingenuity could stand up to even the mightiest alien foe. With a roar of his engines, Jason unleashed a salvo of plasma missiles, the devastating projectiles slamming into the Zorgan ships and tearing them apart. His fellow pilots followed suit, their combined firepower carving a path through the enemy's defenses. But the Zorgan were unrelenting, and Jason knew that his squadron could not hold out for long against the sheer weight of their numbers. Gritting his teeth, he pushed the Falcon interceptor to its limits, weaving and dodging the enemy fire with a skill that bordered on the superhuman. As he fought, Jason could feel the neural interface becoming an extension of his own mind, his thoughts, and the ship's movements merging into a seamless whole. He was no longer just a pilot. He was a living, breathing part of the Falcon interceptor, a fusion of man and machine that defied the boundaries of human ability. And in that moment, Jason knew that he and his fellow pilots were making a difference, that their courage and determination were turning the tide of the battle. The Zorgan may have been more numerous and more powerful, but they had underestimated the indomitable spirit of humanity. With a final decisive barrage of plasma fire, Jason and his squadron succeeded in crippling the Zorgan forces that had broken away towards Earth. The enemy ships, their hulls breached and their systems crippled, began to drift helplessly through the void. As the dust settled, Jason took a moment to catch his breath, his heart pounding with exhilaration and relief. They had done it. They had held the line, buying precious time for the Alani forces to continue their assault on the Zorgan's main fleet. But even as he savored this small victory, Jason knew that the battle was far from over. The fate of two worlds still hung in the balance, and he and his fellow pilots would need to draw upon every ounce of their courage and skill to emerge victorious. With a renewed sense of purpose, Jason guided his Falcon Interceptor back towards the ongoing clash between the Alani and Zorgan fleets, determined to play his part in forging a new alliance that would shape the destiny of humanity and the Alani for generations to come. The forge of a new alliance. As the battle raged on, Jason and his fellow human pilots fought alongside the Alani forces with a newfound sense of unity and purpose. The success of their preemptive strike against the Zorgan vessels heading towards Earth had bolstered their confidence, and they now faced the enemy with a determination that bordered on the fearless. Jason's Falcon Interceptor darted and weaved through the chaos of the battlefield, his neural interface allowing him to anticipate the enemy's movements with uncanny precision. He unleashed barrage after barrage of plasma fire, his targeting systems homing in on the Zorgan's most vulnerable points. Around him, the human and Alani pilots worked in perfect synchronization, their ships dancing in a deadly ballet as they sought to overwhelm the Zorgan's superior firepower. The Alani's advanced technology provided a crucial edge, shielding the human craft from the brunt of the enemy's attacks and enhancing the pilots' reflexes to superhuman levels. But even as the tide of the battle turned in their favor, Jason knew that victory was far from assured. The Zorgan were a relentless, implacable foe, and their sheer numbers threatened to overwhelm the human-Alani alliance. As he glanced towards the Alani flagship, Jason caught a glimpse of Nan, the alien emissary's face set in a mask of grim determination. He knew that the fate of the Alani civilization rested on their shoulders, and that failure was not an option. With a renewed sense of purpose, Jason poured every ounce of his skill and concentration into the fight, his Falcon Interceptor darting and weaving through the hail of enemy fire. He became a living extension of the ship, his thoughts and reflexes seamlessly integrated with the advanced technology. The battle raged on for what felt like an eternity, but slowly, inexorably, the Zorgan's defenses began to crumble. The human and Alani forces, working in perfect harmony, chipped away at the enemy's capital ships, their coordinated strikes gradually crippling the Zorgan's command and control capabilities. As the last of the Zorgan vessels succumbed to the onslaught, a cheer went up among the human pilots, their voices echoing through the comm channels. Jason allowed himself a brief moment of elation, his heart pounding with the thrill of victory. But as the dust settled, he knew that this was only the beginning. The successful defense against the Zorgan invasion had solidified the alliance between humanity and the Alani, paving the way for a new era of cooperation and technological advancement. Jason and Nan stood together on the bridge of the Alani flagship, their eyes locked in a silent exchange of respect and gratitude. In that moment, Jason knew that the bond they had forged went beyond mere tactical necessity. It was a deep, abiding connection, born of shared adversity and a common cause. "You have proven the strength of humanity, Officer Phillips," Nan said, his voice tinged with awe. "Your courage and resilience have not only saved the Alani, but have also unlocked the potential for our peoples to work together in ways we never could have imagined." Jason felt a surge of pride, but also a deep sense of humility. It was a team effort, the forge of a new alliance. Jason felt a surge of pride, but also a deep sense of humility. It was a team effort, Nan. The human pilots and the Alani warriors, we fought as one. None of this would have been possible without your trust and your willingness to share your knowledge and technology with us. Nan placed a hand on Jason's shoulder, his golden eyes shining with a mixture of respect and fondness. "And that, my friend, is precisely why I believe in the potential of this alliance. Humanity has shown that it possesses the courage, the ingenuity, and the capacity for selflessness that can make all the difference in the face of overwhelming odds." He gestured towards the viewport, where the Alani and human vessels floated in peaceful coexistence, their damaged hulls a testament to the fierce battle they had weathered together. "This is just the beginning. With our combined strength, we can forge a future where our peoples stand as equals, exploring the mysteries of the galaxy and ushering in a new era of cooperation and discovery." Jason felt a sense of awe and humility wash over him. The weight of Nan's words was not lost on him. They were standing at the precipice of a monumental shift in the relationship between humanity and the Alani. The courage and compassion of a single human officer had not only saved an alien civilization, but had also unlocked the potential for the two species to become powerful allies in the face of common adversity. "What happens now?" Jason asked, his voice tinged with a mixture of curiosity and uncertainty. "Where do we go from here?" Nan's expression brightened with a hint of anticipation. "Now we begin the process of forging a true alliance, one built on mutual understanding, shared knowledge, and a commitment to the betterment of both our worlds." He gestured towards the Alani scientists and engineers who were already hard at work, their hands moving with a sense of purpose as they began to integrate human and Alani technologies. "We will share our most advanced knowledge with your people, our understanding of interstellar travel, our mastery of energy manipulation, and our insights into the very nature of the universe." Jason's eyes widened as the implications of Nan's words dawned on him. "You mean we'll be able to explore the stars, to travel beyond our own solar system?" Nan nodded, a smile playing at the corners of his lips. "Indeed, my friend. With the combined resources and expertise of the Alani and humanity, the possibilities are endless. We will venture forth, side by side, to uncover the secrets of the cosmos and to forge new bonds with other alien civilizations." Jason felt a surge of excitement and wonder coursing through him. The thought of humanity, once confined to a single planet, now standing as an interstellar power, exploring the vast expanse of the galaxy. It was a dream that he had never dared to imagine could become a reality. "And what of the Zorgan?" he asked, his expression turning serious. "Will they continue to pose a threat to our alliance?" Nan's expression darkened momentarily, but then he shook his head. "The Zorgan have suffered a devastating blow in this battle. Their fleet has been crippled, and their ability to threaten our worlds has been significantly diminished." He met Jason's gaze with a newfound determination. "But we cannot afford to let our guard down. The Zorgan are a tenacious and ruthless foe, and they will no doubt regroup and attempt to strike back. That is why our alliance must remain strong, our cooperation unwavering, as we work together to ensure the security and prosperity of our peoples." Jason nodded, his own resolve hardening. He knew that the road ahead would not be an easy one, that there would be challenges and obstacles to overcome. But he also knew that with the Alani at their side, humanity stood a fighting chance against even the mightiest of foes. As the two of them stood there, overlooking the bustling activity of the Alani flagship, Jason felt a sense of purpose and belonging that he had never experienced before. He was no longer just a cop from New York. He was a sentinel, a guardian of two worlds, forging a future where the boundless potential of humanity could be realized. "I'm ready, Nan," he said, his voice filled with conviction. "Whatever the future holds, I'll be there, fighting alongside you and the Alani, to ensure that our alliance endures." Nan's eyes gleamed with pride and appreciation. "I have no doubt of that, my friend. Together, we will write a new chapter in the history of our peoples, one that will echo through the ages, inspiring generations to come." And so, with renewed hope and determination, the human and Alani forces set out to explore the vast expanse of the galaxy, their alliance a beacon of cooperation and mutual understanding in a universe that had long been shrouded in darkness and conflict.